group, so I figured maybe it was me.
You should. I don't have it on mine. But we are live. So, guys, hello. Welcome to another Wednesday podcast with everybody. We have Ingrid Hernandez in the building. And if you guys don't know me, my name is Caroline Kane. Excited to be on here. We have a full house. I know that because I have terrible internet connection. My internet keeps getting kicked off here. But today we are going to be short and sweet and to the point because your girl has got a headache from hell. So we're going to get through these details and we're going to talk about one of the deals that Ingrid just did. It close, Ingrid?
Yeah, we closed yesterday.
Closed on it yesterday. So Ingrid just had a deal in Avondale.
Yep.
And Avondale close up, that is a Subtail, and we're going to go through what the heck a Subtail is, how do you find these things, how do you get them done, why did you do this instead of purchasing this normally through traditional real estate? Because Ingrid, aren't you a traditional realtor? I don't understand why you guys did this. How did this benefit you, the investor, the homeowners, everybody else involved, which is a great opportunity to jump in here and ask questions. What's up, Jason Lombardi? Love seeing you in here. So we're going to go over that on this channel today. If you guys have not been on here before, please let us know in the side chat. We're here to help you guys. And we do this on Wednesdays at 4:00. We would love to pull you guys up on stage and answer any other questions that you have and do deals with you. So Ingrid, tell me about this deal. How did you find this deal?
Yeah. Okay. So there was another fella who used to fix and flip out of Arizona, and he moved out of state to go help take care of his dad. And so he reached out to me and was like, hey, you're fixing and flipping in Arizona, aren't you? And I was like, yes, I'm fixing and flipping in Arizona. How can I help? Well, he introduced me to one of his probate lawyer friends. And I thought I was getting a probate lead. And I wasn't. It was just that this lawyer has this experience with this specific seller. And the seller was getting offers at like 360, 370 cash. And he wanted closer to 400. And we're like, well, I could try, but let's figure it out. And then the seller situation, he wasn't in hardship. So I want to be clear about that. Normally we're going after pre-foreclosures and things like that. But in this scenario, the problem that he was running into was the fact that the seller or the seller's girlfriend was taking advantage of his credit. So they were taking his credit. She was taking his credit, opening up credit cards, and making him owe all this money that he was just unaware of. So he felt trapped. He was effectively like paralyzed by this situation. Somebody who he had been with 12 years. So he was also dealing and reeling with like the trust problems. So, part of my pitch to him was way more than how can I buy your house? It was, building trust with him, making sure he knew that we were here to help, making sure he knew that, we were looking out for his best interest, even trying to figure out like what his next step is. So, I'm saying all of this to tell all of you through my story that focus less on the house and more on the seller. Like, what is it that they need? At that time, he needed a friend. He needed somebody he could talk to, express what is really difficult to express, which is I'm in a bad relationship and I'm, let's talk about stereotypes a little bit, right? He's the man of the house. They both were. But he struggled to express to anybody. There was shame and embarrassment that his girlfriend would be taking advantage of him like that. So he didn't know who to speak with, and that's why he ended up talking to this lawyer who he's had in the past, and then eventually to me about how we could help him. So part of the problem was he was getting really low cash offers. And that's why we turned to Subtail, because he had like a really low interest rate. And trust you me, I tried buying this property creatively to hold on to it because the mortgage rate, or the mortgage, was less than 1,700 in an area we could probably get around 2,500 or so.
Ooh, good cash flow.
Good cash flow. So I couldn't make it work with him. He really wanted his equity out because they only owed like $212,000 left. I just saw the numbers on the payoff, so that's what he owed left. And what I want you to do,
212,000.
yes, correct.
So you owe 212. What's ARV?
ARV at the time we thought was 525, but we actually sold it for 550.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So the appraisal came back at 551 for the record. So we spoke with him a bit. We were able to offer him I think 390. I have to go look at my documents. And that gave him like $10,000 or $15,000 more than his last offer. And then we also had to pay 10 grand to a wholesaler, the wholesaler who brought it to me, who used to be a fix and flipper, right? He's like, I trust you. You're actually doing business. You're actually flipping houses. So for all of you out there, like, I'm actually doing it. I'm not just talking to you guys about it here. And that's why he trusted me to take care of this. So you may have looked at my Instagram. Like, the seller was like, I thank God that, we crossed paths and you were able to help me. Like, he was super kind with me afterwards, and he's been very, very, very thankful.
I love that. I'm replying to the side chat here. I want to answer this question in a moment, but one thing I want to highlight for everybody, if you guys are not, I'm going to take this little thing down really quickly. If you look at Ingrid's name, I can't reach far enough over. You'll see her Instagram is right there. You actually posted on your Instagram, and I loved it. I took a screenshot of it because people are like, how do you know how to underwrite deals really quickly? And I'm actually going to just pull up your Instagram because I thought it was so good. And I sent it out to a few people because, like, there is something in taking time out of your day to teach other people, which sometimes can suck the life out of you. I want to answer another question, but you can't always impart your thoughts into another person. And you just let's see if it's going to let me. I think it's going to bring you right to your live. Dang, I can't. Well, you know what? It's okay because I took a screenshot of it. So I'll just show you guys the freaking screenshot of Ingrid's story. Because I was like, yes. So one thing I want to highlight that Ingrid just said, she's actually doing deals and she's fixing and flipping. Let's see what time I took a picture. I took a picture of this 10:30 last night, Ingrid. I didn't get home. Yeah, well, I didn't get home until like 9 something from
your girl is putting in the hours.
Well, I think that's why I have a headache today. I'm paying for it today. Where's the picture?
Well, a headache, it might mean that you're just dehydrated.
I know. I've been trying to drink more water.
No. You need to put
salt, minerals. Here's salt. Yeah. But this is what you put on your Instagram story, and I want everybody to see this. If you're not on Ingrid's Instagram, if I get fix and flips with only $100,000 spread, automatically deleting. Some insight for you. Arizona cosmetic flips are costing at least $40,000 to $50,000 by the time we pay holding costs, concessions, commissions, and closing costs. The profit is so little, if any. Negotiate better, my wholesaling friends. And I bring all of this up to tell you guys this. When you're looking at deals and when you're trying to underwrite them and you're trying to figure out what the best use of your time is, you got to make sure, is the juice worth the squeeze? And there's times when you're going to have to walk away from a deal. So that's why I asked her what her ARV was. As soon as she told me what her ARV was, okay, you have enough spread. When somebody's like, ARV's 300,000 and they want 350 and they owe 345, I'm like, that's really, how can we make this work? So understanding what a deal actually looks like is going to be huge. And being around people who are actually doing deals is going to help you build credibility. One of the things, you should honestly make a reel out of that. Have that be your opening thing and talk over it, or throw your little, use it as a green screen and put your face in front of it and talk about deals you've done and why you don't look at those things. So when we're getting started, everybody, it's really, I don't know who else is on here watching this, but there's still aspects of me doing things where I have imposter syndrome, and I need to, like last night I talked to Ingrid on my drive home because we're working with a few other deals and I had not been able to reply back to everybody. I actually have to reply back to you about a different property here. Having people that you can count on that are actually in the business doing deals is going to help you with your credibility. You can partner with Ingrid, you can partner with me, you can have more access to funds, but talking about it is going to help you as well. And I love that you brought that up. So you also said you were able to connect with them. We went to a house. Look, we were just wrapping up late every night. Was that Friday night when we went up to Cave Creek?
Yep, that was Friday. Mm-hmm.
Friday night, same. So almost a similar story, except for he's not getting taken advantage of. They're just in a really bad spot. But these homeowners don't want to just, they want to sell for as much as they possibly can. Everybody wants to get as much money as they possibly can. And being able to explain the structure of what's going to have to go into a home, how long it's going to have to sit, understanding those numbers is going to help you when you're negotiating and when you're talking to a person and just being relatable. So I thought that was, anyways, Ingrid, you didn't know I took a screenshot of it, but I was like, this is really great. And I sent it out to people. And I like paying attention to your stories because you're all gas, no brakes. She doesn't have any fluff in there. It's very efficient. So you understood where it needed to be. He wanted $400,000 for this deal.
Yeah, I think we offered him $390, and then $10K went to the wholesaler. So our all-in was $400,000. Now, when you talk about holding costs, that could have been the make or break number.
Mm-hmm.
But when we found out that he had an excellent interest rate and our holding costs would effectively be less than half of what we would have paid, because our and I'm just simplifying what our numbers are, but between holding costs, the hard money lender, our rate is around 10.75 or 11% interest on hard money. My Texas boys can't believe it because I have a lot of hard money lenders who are in Texas and they're like, that's all you're paying? I was like, nuh-uh, don't bring none of your Texas HML SAS, hard money lender SAS over to Arizona. We love our lower rates. Thank you very much. But even with those low rates, if you're talking about a hard money loan at 90%, which is what we get lended to because we have a lot of experience. So what are we talking about there? Like 360. We have to put $40,000 down of our own cash, and then we have 100% at our remodeling. So our all-in would have been around, we'll call it 410 with the hard money. So our hard money every month would have been, just for simple numbers, $4,000 a month.
Okay.
But with the seller's monthly payment being around that $1,700 mark, which I think it was. Let me check real quick. Where's my monthly mortgages here? 1703. Yep, 1703 is what we were paying for their mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a hard money lender, which we can break that down too. I would love if you had, I need an iPad like you, but like we could break these numbers down. But the money we were paying the hard money lender, the private money lender, because we did have to raise capital for this. We raised $110,000. And yes, they were sitting in third position. So let's go back to these, like, oh my God, why would somebody do that? They are not just investing in the deal, everybody. They're investing in me.
The jockey.
And Steven. They're not just investing because they know that we will make it right regardless of the circumstance. So our private money lender was sitting in third position, and first position was the original loan, and second position was the seller's equity. Remember, 212 is the first loan. At the acquisition closing, we gave the seller $50,000. That is what helped him make that decision too, because he's willing to hold the note and he was willing to hold the equity, but he needed enough skin in the game that he felt comfortable with it. So we gave him $50K. And then our private money lender was sitting in third. So
for everybody, I'm just going to get my iPad off of here. Let's see if I can plug it in so we can see it. So you had your house, because I didn't understand this. So I'm going to bring my iPad up so we can have a visual here. Anybody else in here a visual learner? Where are my ADD people at? Where are my visual learners at? Where are my special brains with all of the ridges? We're so smart because we learn differently. If you are like us, welcome. You have a house, you have a first position, and why? I want to just talk about why this is important for a moment. You have your first position lender, which is typically a what, Ingrid?
The mortgage, because that's
The mortgage
on
company
a
at the bank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then your second position money lender. So they are second in line to get paid out. Let's make sure my camera doesn't just quit on us here. Fingers crossed. Beautiful. Your second position lender was your hard money lender?
No, it was the seller.
Because you had equity.
Yeah.
So you did a hybrid situation, telling him for like a lien, or what did you tell him?
So his seller's equity was at 0 interest, and it was the $390 minus the $50,000 because $50,000 was given to him up front, right? And then I think it was like 137 or something like that.
You give him $50K up front. How long did it take you guys to do this deal?
Less than 3 months.
Ooh, is that short, or is that a quick turnaround, or is that a long turnaround for a
That's a super fast turnaround. Yeah.
Super fast.
Yeah, super.
Let's see if I can get this going. All right.
Yeah. So this was extremely uncommon. And I want to tell you guys why. And here's how, I don't normally brag about myself, but I'm going to throw a little bit ego on here. I am a hustler, baby.
You are. Ingrid is a hustler.
And because I'm an agent, I do attract people looking for properties. And because I attract people looking for properties, or I'll also say I'm also very aware of when people are looking for properties. I had somebody who I reached out to who was looking to move to Arizona. And he was like, well, I prefer a creative deal, but I also qualify for a VA loan. And I was like, oh, you do? He's like, yeah, so it doesn't have to be creative. And I was like, oh, well, where do you want to go? And actually, at first, he wanted to move to the East Valley. But then, as a good agent or anyone in real estate consulting, I was like, wait, you want to be by your sister-in-law who lives in Goodyear. You want to eventually be near Luke Air Force Base. And you want easy freeway access to get to Central Phoenix. I was like, you don't need to be in the East Valley. You need to be somewhere near on the West Valley. So once we explained where this property was located, I was like, this is probably more future proof than you moving to like Scottsdale or where else. And this is a great neighborhood. It's in one of those fake lakes that people make. And those fake lakes actually make for better property appreciation in the future. So again, we conservatively underwrote this to 525. Okay. We knew we weren't going to have a home run deal, but because the property was so all it needed was cosmetics, our budget was like $35K. So we knew that we could go for it.
Okay. And you immediately gave the homeowner $50K up front?
Yep. Gave the homeowner $50K.
Okay. Yeah. And you had to put 30% down for your hard money? Or 30,000 down?
We didn't use hard money. That's a PML.
Oh. Gotcha. I was confused here.
That's okay.
There we go. We talked about hard money. We were talking about Texas.
Okay. Yeah, I'm telling all those people who come from Texas get all upset with we do have hard money lenders who lend us at a lower interest rate in Arizona than they lend in Texas.
Okay. So the only reason I wanted to bring this up for some people, and Cynthia just said, I'm a visual learner. Thank you for the iPad. See, you're welcome. So am I. So for all of us on here, when we're looking at this is just because we talked about pre-foreclosures. You hear me talk about pre-foreclosures a whole lot. Typically, when you were behind on your mortgage, and Ingrid, I'm going to let you jump in. You have more life experience than me. It's most of the time, it's this first position that is in pre-foreclosure. Sometimes the second note is, but this one always gets paid off first. Actually, I'd almost say, Ingrid, would it be right to say there is actually another spot people don't even know about? It's really small. I'd say it's right here. Let's zoom in. I'd say it's Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is right there. So if you look at your house, guys, first you're going to have your house. Uncle Sam's going to get the taxes paid first. So whatever you owe, they're like, you haven't paid your property taxes. You can auction this house off once we get paid first. Then once Uncle Sam's taken care of, the mortgage can get cleared out. What was the, what'd you say it was 212K on the mortgage?
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
payoff.
Payoff. Yes, that's the total amount left on the loan. You gave the seller, so then you did structure to give him 390. So the different, so what was our math there really quickly? Genius. It was 390 minus 212. I'm going to call it 170 for simple math. All right.
Thank you.
We're going to say 170 for simple math. And you gave him 50K up front, 50K up front. Okay. And then you borrowed how much from your PMO?
$110,000.
$110,000 from your private money lender. So I'm deviating from the Subtail really quickly just to show you guys this. So if for some reason this house is in pre-foreclosure, these two, that's a danger zone. This thing's going to get taken care of first. So I just wanted to show you guys that really quickly while I was already doing this. I wanted to when I heard Pace and everybody else talk about loans, I'm like, first position, second position, what do you? So typically, unless you know you have a good jockey, AKA Ingrid, good jockey. Okay, you bet on the jockey, not the horse, because Ingrid's not a rookie. This is not her first rodeo. She has experience in this. When you have a good jockey, you're going to feel safe being in second or third position because she has proof of concept. She's done a deal before. You know you can count on her. You know that she's going to get the deal done quickly. And this only took them 3 months.
Less than 3 months, but yeah.
Less than, or is that greater than? Less than 3 months. Okay. But these other people are in a good spot. So I just wanted to show you guys that really quickly. Whenever you're thinking of what's first position, second position, third position, you're in the danger zone down here on the end. So anyways, okay. So let's go through the math here. ARV was 525. She's being conservative when she does this, guys. That's the way everybody should do everything. And then you did end up selling this for $550,000, which is very nice. Great for you. Renovation. So your immediate. So what else do we need to know about this deal? I have all of our numbers here.
So as far as the ones, I think the way you wrote it up was great. So we sold it at $550. We gave the buyer $17,000 in concessions. Because
what are concessions, Ingrid?
We didn't use any agents. So concessions are when buyers need help, like maybe buying their rate down with their lender. They want money towards closing costs. They want money.
So I brought this up because I shared our after we went up to that house in Cave Creek. For everybody right now, just so you're aware, buying the rate down. Somebody the other day said, "What does buying the rate down mean?" So affordability. This is the biggest issue right now, guys, in our country. I don't know if anybody's gotten groceries lately. Ability. There you go. There's an I in there. Affordability. So if your interest rate, and Ingrid, I'm going to let you jump in on me. But when you gave the example with the homeowner we talked to the other day, what are today's interest rates? If I got a mortgage today, a conventional loan, what's my interest rate?
Probably around 7.5.
7.5% if I got an interest on my loan today. And you would do the concession, so you'd spend this money to help buy this rate down?
Correct.
So what would my interest rate be?
Usually about 2 points lower.
Okay. So when you say 2 points, you mean 5.5?
Yep. 5.5 to 6%.
5.5 to 6%. Let's be conservative, guys. Okay. Let's just say 6%. So that's going to change. And if you guys have not used this before, a great little website to use, bankrate.com. I'll show you in a little bit. You can see the difference in those payments because with interest, it's going to make your house more expensive. But Ingrid, you've been doing a lot of flips lately. Has there been any deal in the last 6 months where you have not done concessions?
Nope.
Okay. Pro tip, everybody. It's not affordable. If you have a mortgage payment, like the average family is struggling to pay their bills. More people are consolidating together. They're building casitas in the back of their house. So their children can live with them while they get money to go be able to afford to live on their own. So I just want you guys to understand what those concessions were because I had a bunch of people asking me that the other day. Okay, Ingrid, so you had $17,000 in concessions. What else?
So 17,000. So think about it's just something that we already have to do math to contribute to our buyer being able to buy our property. And I just want to put this out there. If you see me flipping any house and you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to buy normally, Ingrid, if I go and I ask to buy this house from you without using an agent, will you use that agent commission to go towards concessions for me instead? And my answer is going to be yes. So I just want to put a plug in real quick. We have a Mesa house that's 4 bedroom, 3 bath. We're selling it for 435. If you're in the market or you know somebody in the market in Arizona who wants to buy a house around that price point, but they just don't have the closing costs or the concessions to buy down their rate, reach out to me because I can probably make it work if they don't have an agent involved. Now, there's a lot of pros and cons for not using an agent. Okay. I get that. I'm not saying don't have an agent. I'm just telling you, as a seller, I can part with a lot more money to you as the buyer if I also don't have to pay for an agent's fee. So I'm obviously going to try to get those kinds of deals, which is the one that we're talking about right now, because we were able to buy or sell at a higher rate than we were first contemplating we would sell at, and we weren't using an agent. Our profit requirement on flips is 50K. So we want to maximize those margins as business owners, but also be a contributor as much as we can to our buyers. Like, we want you to successfully own that house and enjoy it and have a good experience. So that's the scenario here. We spent 17K for that buyer to buy our property.
So I want to just highlight this for everybody because people ask me questions about buyers. Reverse engineer your things, guys. Always start from the end. What is it going to cost? So we didn't even include in here, down here, we didn't include closing costs. There's other things that happen in here. So whenever you're looking at deals, let's zoom in again. Closing costs. Okay, you're going to take that away. Agent fees. All right. Renovation, we already kind of talked about. Does this include your your private money lending costs?
No, that rental, no. Holding costs are separate.
Okay. So let's say there's also holding.
Yeah, we put $10,000 aside for holding.
10K. All right. What do you think the closing cost is? So this actually is part of your, did you say your concessions was part of your closing?
On this scenario, yeah. Right. It became a part of our closing, yes.
Okay. So
normally the one thing I really costs is like your realtor commissions, like and then like what we call a BINSR. So like a buyer's inspection notice, seller's response. That's what it stands for. We call it BINSR for short, obviously. And it says, here's what the buyer says is I don't like about the house. I need the seller to address it. And here's the seller saying, okay, we'll address those or we won't, or here's what we'll do in lieu of. And that's sort of the back and forth.
The one thing I really want to just highlight for all of you guys, Ingrid is looking at this. If she's not going to make $50,000, she's not interested. And I need you guys to understand that. Is the juice worth the squeeze? If you take anything away from this podcast today, write that down. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth it for me to go door knock on people's houses if I'm not going to potentially get a deal and help them out? Should I take time away from my children, from my loved ones, from focusing on my mental health, getting better at what other skill? If you're not all in, don't do it. Okay, so know that thing. Ask your cash buyers, like, bottom line, what do you need to make on a deal so I don't waste your time and send you bad deals? And Ingrid, if we don't know what we're doing, will you give me a buy price on a deal?
Absolutely.
Will you, if I wanted to learn how a fix and flip is done, if I send you a deal, would you let me do a fix and flip with you?
Maybe.
She's selective, and that's a good way to be. So, understanding that, somebody just asked, how does the buyer pay you back when you do concessions? They don't pay you back. You're selling the deal. So Ingrid is the seller in this situation. She's selling the deal, and to get this $550 price, she's agreeing to do this to make the house affordable for the buyers. At the end of the day, guys, it has to be affordable for these buyers, and they will, or they're going to go into foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, and lose their home. So it's got to be affordable. So you underwrote this. You saw that it made sense because you're all in on this deal. So where were you at after you gave the homeowner $50,000? You had $35,000 in renovation. You had 10. So let's clean up this up really quickly. Can I get my eraser work? So let's do the math here. Ingrid, you got your calculator out?
No. My calculator is my phone.
It's okay. I'll use mine. All right. So we're going to do this really quickly. So we have what? We have $35,000 plus 10,000. That's 45. Okay. So we have 45,000. So we have $95,000 plus 17,000. Okay. That's $112,000 right now. And then I didn't do the closing costs and agent fees. What were those closing costs and agent fees?
So our total closing costs were, I'll say 18.5, like
Okay.
the concessions plus the.
Oh, I already did the concessions right here.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Then I would add just 1,500 to that.
Okay. So can my eraser work? Come on. There we go. Come on, Apple.
Okay.
1,500.
I'm not clear on what math this is right now.
Well, I added this up, this up, this up right here. So your money that you brought to the deal.
Got it. So my all in is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm going to move that so it's off the screen. Your all in on this deal was 113,000. Yeah, does that sound about right?
I don't like the way it's been shown, so I don't know.
I'm sorry for doing the math that way. Well, you have it on a spreadsheet, I'm sure. Do you have your spreadsheet up? How about you show your spreadsheet instead of my chicken scratch?
I don't think that'll work.
Okay.
It's just, so here's the deal. Our all in at the time of acquisition was technically 460. But 460 included what we were going to pay for renovations already and what we were going to pay for holding costs. But we spent less, right? We put $10,000 aside for holding costs, but we actually spent 4,600. So we made like 5,400 back on that. If that makes sense to everybody?
Yeah.
And so, and then instead of selling at 525, we sold at 550 minus 10,000 or 17,000. I'm sorry, minus 18.5 is what I'll call it. Okay. So 550 minus 18,500.
531.
I'm trying to write this out to you at the same time. Minus our 460 plus 5,400. What number is that?
I'm making sure I have the math correct here. Plus 5,400.
Okay,
that's 76,900.
So 550 minus 18,500 minus our all in at 460 with the hard money or the private money lender plus our 5,400. And actually, I think we spent, I think that's a good enough.
So you were shooting for 50,000, but instead you made 76.9.
I know. Darn it. I missed.
Dang, you overdid it. I love being conservative and that works out. So now we can see we condensed all of our numbers a little bit more for you guys, but you can see your total profit on this deal was 76,900. Your homeowner got to walk away with total of how much in their pocket after everything was said and done?
Whatever 390 minus 212 is.
Hey Siri, what's 390 minus 212? 178. So your homeowner got away with $178,000 cash to seller in let's just say 3 months.
Yeah,
was working with you.
Which was about $15,000 to $20,000 more than what people were offering him.
And it worked out because he had a lot of equity.
He had a lot of equity. And because it was already there, I didn't have to go get a hard money lender. I got a private money lender instead. Somebody who trusts in me and Steven to know we were going to get this done. So what did the private money lender make, right? They made $1,000 1 point origination for 110,000. That's 1,100, and then 12% annualized, which is $1,100 a month. Now, we did it so fast that, he wasn't
They're like,
able to fully.
you paid me off too quick. Give me another deal so I can make more money.
And I did.
Did.
So for the benefit of using his money and rolling it over to a new deal, a new Subtail that we just bought yesterday, that one, we rolled over his 110, and we understood that we missed like that 3-month mark with him. So we're like, hey, we'll give you 2 origination points instead of 1, for the benefit of using your $110,000.
There you go. That's pretty cool. So this is a way that you were able to get the homeowner more money than they had anticipated. You guys made more money on this, and your private money lender won because they to get their money back quickly. They know another proven process. Ingrid did what she said she was going to do. You got somebody who's moving to the state to have a perfect location to do everything that they need to do in that area, so they're not going to sit in standstill traffic all the time. You solved a lot of problems with that. That's incredible. Okay, what's Charlie got here? I just want to make sure I'm correct here. Third position private money lender for a construction loan, etc. We are still sending money to title company. No, actually, no, Charlie. Yeah. Send all of your money to me via Venmo. Don't ever send it to the title company. Don't ever use contracts. If you never want to see it again, Venmo it to me directly.
Okay, she's being sarcastic. In case you guys can't read the sarcasm, I don't want her to get in trouble with the law.
No,
but no, Charlie, you're absolutely right. What we did is there's a security instrument we used. So we actually got a deed of trust and a promissory note written up with, this is how much we're going to pay. This is how often we're going to pay. Normally, you'd want it serviced through a servicing company. But for us, we asked not to on those types of loans because we like to just Zelle. And so we have that conversation with our private money lender up front. On our team, why it works so well to work with the Hunts is like, I'm the deal hunter, which is funny because my last name is not Hunt. Steven and I both underwrite the deals, and he manages the actual projects. My husband is usually the listing agent. Unfortunately, on this one, I didn't do that with him. But he is still sort of helping us with like the last minute pieces on this. I'll give you an example. There was a repair that we had to do on the pool deck, and we're like, Steven's got too much on his plate. Mark can handle it. So that's why we leverage that relationship. And then Angel does all our accounting. So because we have a dedicated bookkeeper per se, it's way easier for us to just send that payment versus maybe if you don't have that many allocation of resources, you probably want to have a servicing company so that you don't forget, because the last thing you want to do is create a reputation problem by not paying your lenders when you're supposed to. So that's just something to call out. Let's see here. Somebody asked this question. Bill Kernodal. So the concession effectively lowers the amount the buyer has to get a loan for, effectively lowering his payment. Yes, actually the $17,000 we gave them not only brought his rate down, but also paid for his closing costs. So it did 2 things there. So literally they're going into a property, and he deserves it. He's an active service duty person. And I think maybe they spent $1,000 buying this house between like inspections and appraisals, which is their responsibility because it's something I can't pay for during the transaction. So yeah, like that's the way we got it. It was not an Novation, Pansy. This was a Subtail. I never recommend Novations when you have to invest into the property. I had a scenario where I tried a Novation and the seller went crazy on me, tried to take the house back in the middle of us fixing it up, because at the end of the day, he really just wanted the house all fixed up. And by that time, we had already reinstated the loan, his like $16,000 that he was behind, and put the $30,000 into fixing up the house. So I never recommend a Novation on something you have to put a significant amount. Maybe if it's like $3,000 or less between like cleaning, maybe some paint work, and then you're ready to put it on market, I would be okay with the novation, because like it's not going to make or break me if I lose $3,000. But anything above that, like, sorry, you're better off doing a Subtail.
Surpass Your Limits said, "Hey Ingrid, picking up another co-living property in Tempe. I love that you're hosting this info. I would love to know what who Surpass Your Limits is."
I know, surpass your limits. Like hook a girl up. I'm looking for co-living, small multifamily. Let's go.
All right, so I want to get to this question here that Joel asked. Quick question. How do you handle burnouts also while trying to get your first deal and everything done in a time constraint? So this is near the beginning of the podcast when he asked this question, and burnouts happen. I am feeling a little bit burnt out. I had to, before our podcast today, I'm usually always buzzing around and doing stuff. I had to lay down for a little bit. You've got to make sure that your cup is full so you can show up when it's necessary. I've had to just get more involved in certain aspects of my business. You're sacrificing certain things at a time, and you have to be aware of that. And you've got to make sure that you're recharging your batteries when it's necessary. I would say don't try and do everything at once. So if I was getting started today right now and I didn't know a lot about real estate, or I didn't know how to underwrite it exactly, I would just go over and I'd say, "Hey, Ingrid, like, what are you buying? What is your buy box? Where should I be looking for deals?" And Ingrid's going to say, "Well, find people who need to sell, people that have a lot of repairs that are necessary. They're behind on their mortgage. There's something going on. It's a vacant house that their grandparents have, and they live in Kansas City and they don't want to come out here to Arizona. Find somebody who's buying those deals and they're fixing and flipping, and then push them to Ingrid." So you're like, "Okay, perfect. I'm going to pull data." So for example, Joel, I know you know that I talk about pre-foreclosures a lot. I would just go start generating leads and find somebody who needs help, that needs to close, or needs to get out of this really tough situation. And then I'd bring it over to Ingrid or myself or somebody who's going to be able to close on that deal, and then get a small win. We need the small wins to make us feel better. Get some cash, and do it again and again. And I recommend everybody just hold, like, Ingrid, you didn't start out doing fixing and flipping, did you?
I did.
I hate asking Ingrid these questions. Ingrid, would you recommend when you were new and you don't know anything about real estate? This is not fair. Ingrid's a bad one because she was a realtor for a long time. If you did not know anything about real estate, would you recommend getting started in fixing and flipping by yourself?
No.
Okay. So find the people that can use the tools on the tool belt. You don't have to have everything figured out. That'll help you out a ton. But burnout is real and it happens. And you've got to make sure, and this is another thing, like every morning I play some type of little motivational video, because I've been averaging, look at my sleep score. I've been averaging like 4 to 5 hours a night in sleep. And I'm tired when I wake up in the morning. Let's see how much sleep I got last night.
I generally sleep between 7 and 9 hours.
So I'm so jealous of you. I got 5 hours and 43 minutes of sleep last night. And the crazy thing is, I woke up every hour. I woke up at 2 a.m. I was like, "Oh my God, it's time to wake up." I texted the people that send out my email for my morning meeting. I'm like, "Hey, send this email out. Make sure that this goes out." And then I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's 2 a.m. What am I doing awake right now?" I thought I was late. I thought it was 5 a.m. I was dyslexic with my time. So burnout happens, but remind yourself what's important. So what I'm getting at is, in the morning, I'll play some kind of motivational video of like, this is a season of grind. I'm in a season of grind. I am trying to stack cash so I can have the freedom to do whatever I want. But burnout's very real, and it helps when you are not alone. Get a battle buddy you can talk to about things. Ingrid?
Actually, I was just going to actually say that there are some people who are just hardwired differently. Mm-hmm. I don't burn out. I actually don't know what to do with myself when I don't have work to do. So I'm obviously wired differently than maybe you, Joel, or even you, Caroline. I'm wired differently. I don't know what it is. Like,
you can't quit work.
Yeah. If I'm not working, I feel like I'm not doing something I'm supposed to be doing. Like, that's where my brain's actually dealing with the opposite of burnout. Like today, I was like, oh my gosh, I got all my admin stuff done, like my money-making activities. And I think I'm going to have like time to actually go take a shower and get ready for my daughter's 8th grade promotion. Am I sure that I'm not supposed to be working right now? Like, that's how my brain is wired, which is very, very different. I also believe that my cup runneth over because I'm doing it with people I absolutely love and enjoy being around all the time. Like,
But we're having fun. Like we went up to a house the other day and then we got to hang out. We had In and Out. Like if you make it into a game and you hang around people that you can enjoy being around, it's a lot of fun. But I'm
that's what I'm
assuming
saying. So, Joel, you may need to like reconsider
who's
what
my group?
environment are you in? Are you in a place where like motivation is not the greatest term. Like you need to have a really strong why. When you have a really strong why and get clarity in your life about what you're pursuing, and then you create your GPS to it, right? Like, how do I get so that why is satisfied? Getting up and doing what you're doing becomes so much easier. So you may need to do some. I just don't want to give you like oh, you just need to call and do or get up and do a motivation dance. No, you might need to do actually some mindset work,
I,
and understand like where are you trying to get to, because I believe when you don't clearly know what you want out of what you're doing, that's when burnout happens.
I would agree. I would 100% agree with that. I think you hit the nail on the head. I was going to say, Joel, I'm gonna put a thought on you. When I first got started, or when I had a position, like I tell the story all the time. When I first started doing real estate, I was wholesaling deals. I made like $26,000, I think, in my first 3 months. And then I got into, all right, well, now I'm a genius. I just made 26 grand. Let me go get a virtual assistant. Let me go get a CRM. Let me go get a triple line dialer. Let me go get a batch leads account. I don't know how to manage my VA. I don't know how to really underwrite my deals 100%. But let me get that. I dropped 10 grand in 1 month. And I remember being like, I just dropped a lot of money. Where are my deals coming from? And I was really stressed out. And I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And I wasn't remembering to do the fundamentals. And you just, right now, you're in a season probably, and I don't know how many deals you've done, but you're in a season of you need to start producing leads. So if anybody else is in that season of you need to start producing leads so you can like bring it to somebody, JV with them and learn how it's done, join some, like, you don't have to join their team. If they're willing to JV with you and help you out through the process, do that. So I
Yeah.
think that would be the biggest thing. Oh, nice. And you just put that in the side chat. Go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah. So part of what actually helped me, did you ever watch that like hair clip for men where the guy was like, I'm not only the president of Hair Club for Men, but I'm also a client. So I was part of, like, Marlon was actually one of my high performance coaches, and he was helping me kind of get a better sense. And he actually encouraged me to get back into fixing and flipping because I was slightly, uh, scared to do that because of my bad experience, instead of just learning from my bad experience on one of my flips and just moving forward. And he would like push back on me a lot and like, why can't you just do better? Why can't you just underwrite better? Why can't you just say no to all the bad deals and just do a better deal? Like, he pushed me, and I was like, okay, you got it. But one of the things that I was able to achieve during one of the masterminds and I love that you put up the video, is actually going through the breath work exercise. Because I think doing breath work, and this is something we also prioritize during these masterminds, is we do breath work every single day before we get started, because it really primes your brain when you over oxygenate yourself to, like, it literally starts changing your DNA. Whether you do this mastermind or not, I recommend people starting this breath work exercises. They're free, first of all. So like, you basically hyperventilate. If you guys follow Gary Brecka kind of walks you through like, what does that look like? But after we prime our brain with these like breath work things, it's so much easier to go work on your clarity. And for the very first time, during the second time we did this mastermind, I finally found my why. And it was so difficult for me because I'm super analytical. I understand that I probably, I'm always like looking for somebody trying to take advantage of me. And it was hard for me to do this clarity work the first time. The second time, I kind of just succumbed to it. Like, just do it, Ingrid. Just get over it. And I was crying when I was writing my why. Like I always say now, like if your why doesn't make you cry, you probably didn't find it yet. So, and my why couldn't be, oh, I want to provide the best for my family. Like, I'm not saying that's a cop out or anything, but it felt like a cop out for me. Like, because I've always tried to provide for my family. So if I'm going to go to this entrepreneurial thing, like, what is pulling me into being an entrepreneur? Like, I was in a 6-figure job. Things were secure. Like,
Mhm.
what is making me risk it for the biscuit? Like, what is that calling? Like, why am I being pushed that way? Like, why do I feel it in my soul? And yeah, like going through this exercise really, really helped me get some clarity. And like I was saying, knowing my why and now knowing what my GPS is to my destination, I just don't experience burnout. So sorry, Joel, that was a really long explanation.
That's a good explanation though. And once you have that, it makes it a lot easier. And you just, but also you've, I mean, our brains are wired differently. Ingrid's more of an analytical. She can just do, she's just more engineer brain than I am. I have ADHD. There's a thing called object permanence. If I don't constantly remind myself of what's important, I'm going to get distracted by something else that's going on. Somebody's going to need me somewhere. So we're not all the same. Figure out what works for you. I actually reread Can't Hurt Me last year by David Goggins, and I read it and I did it with a group of people that were doing a version of 75 Hard with me. And I would do a breakdown of it every Sunday, talk about the chapter that we read. And like reading it again, David Goggins talked about for him to learn like one math problem, it might take Ingrid 15 minutes and she's got it and she's comprehending it, but it takes him 10 hours. And I was the same way. I'm not a student that can just read and comprehend. I understand it takes me a little bit longer. I have to have this intentional time for me. So we're all a little bit different, but I'd say if you guys are not right now taking 15 minutes in the morning to just be by yourself and your thoughts and visualize where you want to be and what you need to do today to accomplish that, that's a big game changer. So I think that's a good place to stick a pin in this and wrap it up so you can go hang out with Isla and I can go get some salt in my body. What about you?
Yeah. Well, again, we're having our next Mind Over Matter Mastermind at the end of August. The registration link is in the chat. So if you guys would like to take advantage of that and meet myself, meet Marlon, please come on through. We have these masterminds at the Manor, our $1 million house that we bought through Subtail, and would love to host you and kind of help you on your entrepreneurial journey. But yeah, that's all I have. Yeah, my baby is going to be in high school, and so I'm sure I'm going to be an emotional mess. Yeah, that's what my Wednesday brings.
Well, Ingrid, thank you so much for going over your deal with us. Guys, if you have anything, reach out to us on Instagram. You know how to talk to us. We'll see you again next Wednesday. Have a great day. Thank you guys for showing up. We appreciate all of you guys commenting, liking the videos, sharing it. It really helps us because we do this for free. And have a great day. Bye, everybody.